And with that, we welcome you to the second floor of the Duncan Student Center. Happy Senior Day to all those seniors out there. We got a senior-packed show for you alongside Jimmy Collins, John Bailey, Shannon Lipscomb will join us in a little bit for Friday headlines, as well as some senior memories. I'm Jacob Irons. And for Notre Dame, everything is in front of them. Every week, it might not be the greatest opponent. They know they just can't stumble. That's what Notre Dame has to avoid this week against Virginia. Emotions will be high. You're going to imagine there will be some tears, and they got to keep winning and keep winning in a way that allows them to host a playoff game. Jim, I'll start with you. Notre Dame understands if they do what they need to do, they're in the playoffs, and this team, which lost to NIU, has every right to be in there.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it's nice to see that you've come around to the fact that if they win out, they'll make it.
Stop. I'm not saying that. I'm
an optimist?
We had multiple arguments within the last couple weeks that if Notre Dame wins out, there's still a chance that they don't make it. But obviously, that's not the case.
I will say, with Georgia losing, did not help my conversation for this, so we can move past.
But I feel like I've been here and said it time and time again that if Notre Dame wants to continue winning games, it's going to have to come from offensive production. And the only way for that to happen is if they stick to the identity that seemingly they've found out after the NIU loss. You could see a skeleton of it at Texas A&M when the passing game wasn't working. They started relying on running backs, Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, who ultimately made big plays to help win that game. And then NIU, they kind of tried to spread the field, and it didn't work, and it cost them. But ever since then, it's been hammering it with the running backs, wearing teams down in the trenches. And then with Riley Leonard, it's just quick outs, quick ins to get him consistently completing passes for positive yards. And by the end of the game, this Notre Dame offensive line and these running backs really wear teams down. And I think if they continue to do that for the last 3 games of the season, they will win all 3 games.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, we talk about establishing an identity. That all starts at the top with the head coach, Marcus Freeman. We all know that Coach Freeman's a pretty religious guy. He converted to Catholicism when he became the head coach at Notre Dame. He's publicly talked about how his faith has deepened here at Our Lady's University. But he's also very philosophical as well, looking at different stories from across the world. And there's one that resonates with him from an old Chinese parable called The Old Man Who Lost His Horse. He's a dutiful farmer who relies on this one horse to, take care of his crops. But one day it runs away, and the village all thinks he's got terrible luck, only for it to come back days later with 2 more horses, and everyone thinks he's the luckiest man alive. But then the horse breaks his son's leg because it's wild and untamed, bucking him off. But when the Chinese military comes through, they're unable to conscript him into service because of his injury. And throughout this, everyone says he's got good luck or bad luck, he's blessed or cursed, but he maintains steadfast and stoic that we'll see. We just got to take things one day at a time, one game at a time, and like Marcus Freeman says, one play at a time. It's this mindset that Coach Freeman has instilled in his players after we had the good luck, this high of the Texas A&M win, to some really unfortunate bad luck at Northern Illinois, some fluky plays that resulted in big chunk plays and touchdowns from the Huskies. It just wasn't Notre Dame's best game. They could have given up on the season right then and there, but instead they said, we'll see what happens in the next game. And they just stayed focused on the future, and they've been able to use this Northern Illinois game as kind of a template for how they want to approach the rest of the season, to stay grounded and balanced in their approach. We lost Benjamin Morrison, arguably the best player on the team, but instead of thinking, oh, what terrible luck, the season is over, we found Leonard Moore. He's been great. He stepped up. Same thing with Charles Jagisaw, replaced by Anthony Knapp. 2 places we thought would really be weaknesses of this team that have become understandably one of their greatest strengths. So I just think as long as we keep this mindset and remember the old man and his horse, Notre Dame will surely be playing in South Bend in December.
Yeah, that's going to be the hope. Georgia loses. Opportunity is there for them to call, hopefully, home and say, hey, I'm not going to make it home for Christmas right away. I got to stay for a playoff game. However, the men doing the calling on the WVFI broadcast are standing by for a broadcast booth preview.
Welcome back to WVFI Sports here at Notre Dame Stadium. I'm Pat Fight, joined by Henry Lytle and Cooper Van Trusch. Tomorrow, the Fighting Irish at 8-1 take on the Virginia Cavaliers, who are 5-4. It will be a special day in South Bend, with 29 seniors being honored pre-game. It will be a significant day as the final home game at Notre Dame Stadium.
Well, hopefully we'll get one more there, Pat, with that playoff game, but that's still yet to be decided. And Talk about a significant senior day, and it is. This could be the last time in a regular season game that we see a transfer quarterback implemented. With the quarterback room they're developing with Kenny Minchie, Steve Angeli, and CJ Carr, this could be hopefully that one year that Notre Dame does not look to the transfer portal and uses and promotes from within. From over the 3 out of the past 4 years, we use a transfer quarterback. This could be the last time in a regular season game we see that transfer quarterback as a starter.
Well, it certainly could be, Cooper, and this game specifically has a lot of implications for the Irish. Virginia coming off a big win, 24-19 against Pitt last week. So this team is fired up, beating a one-loss team, kind of similar to Notre Dame in some ways, but Virginia really struggling at the line of scrimmage, allowing 31 sacks in 9 games. That's going to be where the Irish can really take this point of attack on defense and really try to win the line of scrimmage at the front of the ball there. So for the Irish as well, this game is also significant, trying to build some momentum towards Army next week, who's undefeated. And as you said, home playoff implications are on the line.
Some great insights there. For Cooper Van Driesch, Henry Lytle, I'm Pat Fight. Be sure to tune in to WVFI Sports tomorrow at 3:30 p.m.
Hey, thanks so much, guys. Should be an interesting game. And for Virginia, coming off a big upset victory against Pitt last week, and they're going to try and replicate that here against a very strong Notre Dame team that's starting to gain their sea legs. What went right for them ultimately to upset the Panthers, who are looking like they could be in the ACC title conversation?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit uneasy for Notre Dame fans seeing that Virginia picked up this big ranked win last week against Pitt. And if Virginia wants to replicate that this week against Notre Dame, it seems pretty simple to me. They're going to have to stack the box. They're going to have to force Mike Denbrock and this Notre Dame offense to throw the ball on 3rd and long. You don't want them 3rd and short because Notre Dame will run the ball and they'll run it down your throat. But if you're not 3rd and long, then Notre Dame can get some quick passes. They won't really have to try and spread the field, which they don't do very well. And I think with that will give Virginia a chance to create multiple turnovers, which will then win them the time of possession, which if you win the time of possession against Notre Dame, I really like your chances to win the ball game. And last week, UVA won the time of possession 35-24, and they created 2 turnovers in a big road win against Pitt. So I do think that if they continue that this week, I think that will put them in the best chance to upset Notre Dame.
I'm going back to the coaches. We talked about Marcus Freeman. Tony Elliott has laid a strong foundation there in Virginia. He comes from the Dabo Swinney tree. He's a legitimate coach. He's done some amazing things there with the Cavaliers. And they have a stout defense anchored by Jonas Sanker. He's a safety. Reminds me a lot of Kyle Hamilton back in the day, that he's so versatile, can play cover corner, step into the box as a linebacker, and make some big tackles. Just a phenomenal safety that Notre Dame's going to need to watch where he's lined up at any time. He could blow up a big run play or even take an interception off of Riley Leonard. But I go back to this Virginia offense. I think it's really potent with that rushing attack. It kind of stumbled a bit during their 3-game losing streak, but surged back to life against Pittsburgh. We have Anthony Calandria, the quarterback. He's inconsistent, but he can make some big plays. And a lot of that is predicated on his athleticism. He can get out there and scramble. He has 16 runs of 10-plus yards on the season. And then they have a 2-headed monster in the backfield, too, for this triple threat. You got Kobe Pace. He's a Clemson Tiger guy, where Coach Elliott came from. I kind of think of him as the thunder of the team. He's not a home run hitter, but he's a strong runner. He's powerful. He's good for 3 to 4 yards almost every time. And then you got the Lightning. You got Xavier Brown, who has really come alive in recent weeks. You can see some of the highlights here, going for these big first down runs after another. 10 yards, making people miss through the trenches. And he's got so much gravity that you can get a little tricky with him. Chris Tyree here on an end around, the former Notre Dame player, that, just so much attention is paid to Xavier Brown because he can break one at any time. He has 18 missed tackles on the season and 6.3 yards per carry, including a career-high 75-yard touchdown against Coastal Carolina. He's really ascended in this Virginia offense. He had a highest workload of the season, 15 carries against Pitt, and I could see that number being similar or even higher against Notre Dame. He's also threatened the passing game, so it's going to be very important for the linebackers like Jaden Osbury to kind of shut him down, make sure he doesn't get out for big plays on the wheel routes. He had a 46-yarder go to the house against Louisville.
Yeah, this is a team that has all the pieces. They just got to try and connect it together. For Notre Dame, very much of the same right now. They have the pieces. They've shown that they can get there. They now have to put it together at a championship level. What do you need to see from them to make them jump from a playoff team to a national championship contender?
Yeah, I think for me the answer is pretty simple, and it's also going to come on the offensive side of the ball. I think on the defensive side of the ball, this team is pretty sound. It's a surefire top 10 defense in the country. But on the offensive side of the ball, Notre Dame needs to start fast. I think Notre Dame fans have been pretty upset more in the early half of the season before the second bye week with how Notre Dame seemingly hardly put up 10 points in the first quarter and starting games 7-7 or immediately trailing at the start of the game like they did against Louisville. So I think if this Notre Dame offense can start fast like they have against Navy, and they didn't do it last week against Florida State, but they bounced back. But the Navy game is really what I want Notre Dame fans to look at, that this offense can start fast. And it's just, if they continue to get in a rhythm early, then they're going to be very hard to beat because that defense is so good. So I think if Notre Dame wants to avoid an upset this weekend against UVA and have the College Football Playoff Committee, this team is a surefire college football playoff team. They're going to host a game in this college football playoff. They need to start fast. They need to get out to big leads, because if they do get out to big leads, other teams can't score fast on them.
John, you think the same?
Yeah, this is the senior show, so I want to start a little tangent first, right? We talked about Chinese proverbs. Now, let's talk about some South Bend weather, right? We all see the perma cloud. It's been cold and gloomy. But see, that's why I feel good that throughout the whole season, I've had a nice little house on Riley Leonard Island. It's nothing fancy. It's 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath with an ensuite. But it's nice. Sometimes I may get a little jealous of the great weather on Cam Ward Island or the glitzy houses on Shadur Sanders, but it gets the job done, and I've been enjoying my time on the Riley Leonard Island. We started off sparsely populated, but we've had some immigration from the Angeli Isles recently as more believers have come to our home. And the valuation has truly soared as Notre Dame's offense has taken off. They've averaged over 45 points per game through their last 4, and a lot of that comes down to Riley Leonard's rushing ability. He has a unique talent unlike many other signal callers in the country, being able to break tackles, make guys miss, and take ones to the house on these long runs. I have no doubt that he's going to walk away from this season as the record holder for the most touchdown runs by a quarterback in Notre Dame history in just one season. He's been so good. You see, even going back to Duke, he's versatile in the way he can run. The outside, the inside, but always getting touchdowns. But my one complaint, if I had to make one to the HOA here on the island, is that we need some more consistency with Leonard's passing game, with some of his mechanics for the most part, and his accuracy issues that have plagued him throughout the season. It's a little different than his time at Duke. Some of the other plays in there, we can see that he's a lot more sound with his feet. I think some of it has to do with the litany of ankle surgeries and injuries that he's had, has kind of messed with his footwork. He widens his base a little too much, and he stiffens his left leg when he tries to throw the ball. That often leads to him sailing the ball over the receiver's head and has led to costly interceptions like we saw against Georgia Tech. He also tends to push the ball out a bit too much instead of letting it release with a high arcing point, and that also hinders his accuracy. So it's a little rough to fix all these things in the end of the season, but we've seen that he's able to do so. We've seen that he's had some great passing touchdowns this year, but then he'll go out and miss a short 4-yard completion to an open man. So all I need to see from Riley Leonard to really elevate this team to contender is finally hit those throws, make those short little passes, and then you'll be having a great quarterback on one of the best teams in the country.
Christmas time's right around the corner. Christmas music's already playing on Notre Dame's campus earlier today. John and Jimmy got a little bit of a Christmas list right there. We'll be with NDTV friends before the Friday headlines.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear when it hasn't been your day, a week, a month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to pour. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you 'cause I'm there for you too.
Hi everyone, I'm Shannon Lipscomb, and here are your Friday headlines. Tonight, Notre Dame women's soccer will open the NCAA tournament against Milwaukee right here at Alumni Stadium. For the 30th time in 32 years, Notre Dame women's soccer has qualified for the NCAA tournament. The Fighting Irish secured the number 4 seed and will look to star freshman Izzy Engel and goalkeeper Sonoma Cassica to pull out a win against the Milwaukee Panthers, who left South Bend with a 2-2 draw after a buzzer-beating desperation shot from midfield last time they visited. Kickoff begins at 7 p.m. Turning to the men's side, senior forward Matthew Rue was named ACC Offensive Player of the Year on Wednesday. He's the 4th player in program history to earn this honor, and he has had an exceptional season, leading the ACC with 14 goals and 32 points. In his playing career at Notre Dame, Rue has 84 career points off 35 goals and 14 assists. Now let's head to women's basketball, where the Irish secured a victory over James Madison, winning 92-46. The number 6 Fighting Irish are undefeated to start the season, but the more exciting headline this week was freshman forward Kate Koval's outstanding performance on Wednesday night. She scored 14 points and earned her first double-double of her career, earning a Player of the Game honor from head coach Nell Ivey. Next, the Irish will head to Lafayette for a Sunday afternoon game. The men's basketball team is now 2-0 after beating Buffalo 86-77 on Monday in Purcell Pavilion. With a strong showing from Tay Davis, Braden Shrewsbury, and Marcus Burton, the Irish were able to bounce back in the second half and depend on their star players. Burton scored 19 points, 9 rebounds, and a career-tying 8 assists, while Davis went 7 for 13 in shooting and scored 27 points. The Irish play tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. for a rematch against Georgetown. And the Notre Dame hockey team will be rocking some new sweaters for their upcoming international trip to Belfast, Ireland. The Friendship 4 tournament will be the program's first ever international trip. So in partnership with Under Armour and Fanatics, the team will wear navy jerseys with gold script to represent the historic Book of Kells on November 29th and 30th. And lastly, we honor former head football coach Jerry Faust, who passed away last week. Faust coached the Fighting Irish from 1981 to 1985, and under his leadership, the Irish won the 1983 Liberty Bowl, 19-18, against Boston College. When asked about Faust, the late Notre Dame president, Father Hesburgh, said, "He was totally dedicated to Notre Dame, almost with a passion, and he was terribly enthusiastic, totally optimistic. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family."
Welcome to Shamrock Sports. My name is Tyler Reedy, joined alongside Avery White and Cooper Van Driesch. And hey, we've got a great show on tap today as the anticipation is building with Notre Dame football set to take the field once again tomorrow.
I know. I'm looking forward to seeing how the Notre Dame offensive line comes out.
Check up. Let's go.
That position group will be critical for the Irish.
Hey! That's and one. That's and one.
Hey, I hate to be that guy, but we're kind of in the middle of something here. It's pretty important.
We know you guys want to play too. I mean, we need 3 more.
3 more.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this. Come on.
And welcome back here. It's the part of the favorite of the senior show, and it's the senior memories. Got 4 years of football games, key parts of culture and part of student life here at the university. So as seniors, we like to take a part of the last show and really dive into our favorite memories for our 4 years. Bring in the one and only Shannon Lipscomb back in from Friday Headlines. Made the quick jog over. So we'll start with you. What's some of that favorite memories?
Well, you know what, Jake, you said we had 4 years of football, but I think I got to throw it back to just a few weeks ago at the beginning of this season. They say everything's bigger in Texas, and so Notre Dame heading to Texas A&M to take on them at Kyle Field to open up this season. That was definitely one of my favorite memories. As these guys know, I'm usually working on game days, so to just be able to go there, have fun with my friends, what an awesome game it was. Me and my friends were sat up in the 400 section, so yes, if you can believe it, we were up in the nosebleeds, but we had such an amazing time, awesome atmosphere there, and I really loved the opportunity to get to see some of the newer faces on the Fighting Irish football team ball out, including Jeremiah Love, Adon Schuler. It really just kind of set the tone for this season, and it was one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites as well. I'll keep it in the Lone Star State. You had who else but Adon Schuler? I was fortunate enough to call the game for student radio. We didn't have a spot in the press box. No, that is us standing amidst the 100 1,000+ crowd, myself and Tyler Reedy. That's our vantage point right there, looking down the barrel of it. We had great fans behind us. We had security. That was maybe one of the most iconic times. Then we get to go on the field with our advisor, Dylan Wallace, having a great time after a big Irish win. It was one of those moments in my tenure here at Notre Dame that I'll never forget. It's one of the great stories in all of Notre Dame student media. Didn't know where we were going 30 minutes before kick. Go it, call it off a hotspot, and man, oh man, Notre Dame walks out with a victory. That is maybe one of the best moments I've ever had as a student journalist here. And part of it, Jim, I think we're staying in the Midwest though.
Yes, I didn't get to make it out to the Texas A&M game. Did look like a lot of fun, big win there. But I did get to make it out to the Wisconsin game at Soldier Field back in our freshman year, where Notre Dame won 41-10 against the Badgers. And I do think that it was a very slow start to the game, similar to this Notre Dame team. Yeah. It was cool. I got to sit front row for the first half, and then we sat up top behind the Notre Dame end zone for the second half. It was a lot of fun. Notre Dame with a massive 31-point fourth quarter. And what makes this memory so big for me, I know former NDTV member JJ Post, this is also a core memory for him, but it wasn't until Tyree found a lane and the whole game changed for Notre Dame. Take a listen.
Van Dyke kicks it off. Picked up. Tyree. Here's Tyree with a lane. Tyree! Whoa! Can he get there? Tyree at the 30, 20, 10, touchdown, Notre Dame!
So yeah, without a doubt,
come on,
that is one of my core memories.
How do you not fall in love?
That is one of my favorite calls in Notre Dame history by Gus Johnson. So that is my core memory. John?
Yeah, how can you not be romantic about football, right? It's a great sport. In my memory, it's going to make me feel more like a senior citizen than anything else. I need a cane, my readers to go through this trip. But this is the days of the pandemic, back when everyone had on a mask and there were students only in the stadium. And the days of Zom Hall when they still had the Here Come the Irish sign. There's me, my beautiful face on the student center wall when I was still doing Shamrock sports all the way back during this time in 2020. And then no students, but some celebrities cited in Notre Dame Stadium, none other than Gumby himself. We saw Gumby up there at the very top of the stadium for seemingly like 15 minutes, just staring off into the distance, perhaps looking for Eddie Murphy or his horse Pokey. Couldn't find them, but eventually the ushers dragged him down from the top of the stadium and took him away. But it was a great game. Notre Dame came into this one completely, no one was really betting on the Irish, but they were able to silence the doubters right away, and even with a smaller crowd, absolutely lit up when Kyron Williams took it to the house on a 65-yard touchdown. Then one of my favorite sports memories of all time, the 53-yard bomb to Avery Davis, the miracle man, with just 1 minute left to go, and then his subsequent 4-yard touchdown catch from the legendary Ian Book to tie the game. To me, that is one of the top 3 moments that when I think about why I love sports, I think of this right here. It's right up there for me with Trey Burke's 30-foot, 3-point game-winning shot against Kansas, #1 seed in the March Madness. And it's up there for me with the 2012 ALCS with Prince Fielder getting that last out, Phil Koch popping up the Yankees for a sweep. And those are just why I feel so appreciative to have this opportunity to cover this with you guys and be here for all these big moments that make us really realize what it's like to share in a community and the beauty of these sports.
I know. Hopefully there's some more big moments to come here in this 2024 season. We say goodbye to you, Miss Shannon. We'll come back and win you some money. It's Shan Bookie on the other side.
Hey Irish, if you want to hear the news from campus this week, watch some exciting segments, or learn about this coming weekend's campus events, make sure to tune in to ND Sunrise, which airs every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on the NDTV YouTube channel.
Welcome you back. There's been very few things I have done at NDTV that I am more proud of in my 4 years than instilling a segment called Shan Bookie. Shan Bookie is out here and we're going to get you some money in college football. We'll start with my man, Ken Niedemalo-Ola. He's got a dog in his Spartans, San Jose State. They're going up against the 13th ranked Boise State Broncos. Yes, Ashton Genty, he's the guy, I get it. But Boise State has struggled on the road in the Mountain West so far this year. And San Jose State has been playing well. Came off a big win against Oregon State out of the Pac-2 last week. Then on top of it, took down Wyoming earlier 2 weeks ago with a bye nestled in between there. They have been playing good football. Kenny Mauola has been a sham bookie favorite on Senior Show. Got to stay with the guy. Give me the mighty San Jose Spartans, plus 14. I don't know if they win the game, but they'll at least cover. I think it's going to be tight. You might want to watch that one.
I'm a little bit worried with your pick there because I do believe the last time you chose a San Jose State sham bookie pick was also the NIU show, which Notre Dame ended up losing. And we found all this out this morning, so it's not like we were thinking about this to all you Notre Dame fans who may be concerned. But for me, I'm picking Kansas plus 2.5 at BYU. This is a BYU team that I think should have lost last week at Utah, but this is a Kansas team that was ranked 22nd coming into this year, and they have a lot of talent. Jalen Daniels, their quarterback, has thrown for 1,800 yards, rushed for almost 350, and has 19 total touchdowns, 13 through the air and 6 on the ground. I think this is a Kansas team, too, that is playing their best football right now. They're coming off a blowout win versus Houston, a close 2-point loss at Kansas State, and then a 9-point win against a team that you thought was going to contend for the college football playoff in Iowa State.
Yeah.
And so that was a big win for them last weekend. I do like their chances this week to cover the plus 2.5 and win outright in Provo and upset BYU.
I think this is a masterful pick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In a moment of reflection during our senior show, I think back to some of the common themes I've expressed during my years here, and one of them has always been my hatred of the Pac-12. My relationship with the Pac-12 is a lot like Kendrick Lamar's relationship with Drake, to put it lightly. But see, now the Oregon Ducks, they're in the Big Ten. They're finally freed from the curse of the Pacific Ocean, and they will be playing the Wisconsin Badgers at home in Madison. And they're a 14-point favorite. I say hammer that all day long. It should be at least 20 points because look at Dylan Gabriel right here. He has over 6 seconds to throw that pass. He finds Tez Johnson, an elite receiver, for a 31-yard touchdown. Johnson is a playmaker. You give him the ball in space, he's going to make you pay for it. And then right here, another clean pocket for Gabriel for another touchdown that helped him set up himself as the all-time touchdown leader in NCAA history. Let's see, he can get it done with his feet too. He's not just throwing the ball, he's a dual threat quarterback. But the thing that stands out to me about this Oregon team is it's a lot different than years past. They're no longer a cute, gimmicky, speed-first West Coast offense.
No.
They win in the trenches. That line up front is absolutely mauling guys. Like we saw right there, Gabriel's all day to pass. They have clear running lanes, and these Ducks are built for winter. And they're not, I'm saying it right now. They're going to go into Wisconsin, maybe a lot colder than Eugene, but they're going to have no issue. And I think Oregon's going to win big against the Badgers. Sorry, Bucky.
Sorry, Bucky. That's all I got to say. We'll have picks on the other side. Do you know ball? We do.
No ball? Let the seasoned ball knowers at Shamrock Sports get you up to date on all things ball around Notre Dame. Shamrock Sports airs 3:30 p.m. every Friday right here on NDTV. Go Irish.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at our leaderboard for where we stand in staff picks. Oh, what? This is just so messed up by Ryan Murphy. Sneaking this in on the senior show. I have not won this year. 19, really? We could have just blazed over that. Ben Rohr leading the way with 9 points so far on the year. Ben Rohr, the sophomore.
Ben Rohr needs it for the Omni Fantasy League. So.
And then here are your staff picks for the entirety of the staff going with Notre Dame. We've got some great ones in there. Got big victory. Caitlin Klein, 40-6. Whoa. We're putting down a smackdown. Now that brings us to your esteemed seniors. What do we believe is going to happen? I will say, it was tough this week. If anyone follows the show regularly, I have not picked Notre Dame since NIU, and that won't change this week. I think UVA will come in with Chris Tyree, revenge game, blah, 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 blah. It's reverse psychology at this point. Give me the... Oh, yeah, this really stinks. Give me Virginia. I really have nothing to say for it other than if I don't do it, they will most likely lose. And so when I pick against them, they win 100% of the time. We're going to play reverse psychology here. Give me Virginia.
Yeah, Chris Tyree's real scary, man, averaging like 10 yards a game.
Whoa, whoa.
Watch out.
I was telling Jake before the show that based on the numbers, if he continues to pick against Notre Dame will win the national championship.
100%,
so
man.
We're going to keep going with that. We're going to go with the numbers. I'm also going to go with the numbers. I think that Notre Dame is the far better team. I think they're going to wear Virginia down in the trenches. I think this Notre Dame offense is really peaking at the right time. I think they're going to win 31-14, although it may be a slow start. And I do think that Virginia has a good chance to cover the spread just based on the way that they're playing right now. They're playing good football. They had a big win last weekend, but I do think Notre Dame comes away with a 31-14 victory and is 2 games away from the college football playoff.
Not so fast, my friend. I got to hit you with it right there. Notre Dame is absolutely going to cover this game because ever since Marcus Freeman took over as the head coach of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, do you know which team is the best in all of college football at covering the spread?
Notre Dame.
The Notre Dame Fighting Irish. They're going to do it again this week. Marcus Freeman has cured all of Brian Kelly's ailments when it comes to senior day games. I think he's going to have his team ready to go. He's going to be reading them some Chinese proverbs tonight, and they're going to be firing on all cylinders, absolutely blowing the doors off the Cavaliers 41-13. They're going to create some havoc in the backfield, and Virginia's going to need to run the ball to win, but if Notre Dame is able to get after the quarterback and get them into obvious passing situations, they have no chance at all. The quarterback, Anthony Calandria, has thrown 4 interceptions in the last 2 games. He's been pressured on 40% of dropbacks. Notre Dame had 8 sacks last week. I don't know if they're getting to 8, but they're at least going to get half of those. And the Irish are going to cruise. They're faster, they're stronger, they're better.
Sets up for a big week looming with the Shamrock Series against a ranked Army team in Yankee Stadium a week from this Saturday. Should be a lot of fun. Much anticipation with Notre Dame looking to try and stay home on the college football playoffs. From this senior show, we cannot thank you enough for watching, and we cannot thank our fabulous staff who allow these seniors to get from behind the buttons and behind the computers to allow us to do this show every week. They've been a part of our core memories here for our 4 years. They've allowed us to be here, to have so much fun, and what makes NDTV such a family. We'll see you in December. Yes, we're off next week, but we will see you in December for maybe a college football playoff show. If stuff doesn't go awry, we'll see you then. We'll talk to you later.